CEOs don't want to be babysat. We want to do what we want to do. And it's not babysitting, it's just basically training. I remember my first law firm, we had people, and my partner would say, look, they're grown-ups, they know how to do their job. I now say, no, nobody knows how to do their job. In fact, I hire people who are not trained so I can train them right. I don't want anyone who has experience with another law firm, because that sets the bar, or the ceiling, really. I want to hire somebody who's got no experience, who loves people, who loves to give good customer service, and I will train them how to give the best customer service. And that's got to be your goal. You can't just say, oh, they're going to do their job, because it just doesn't happen. And it's your livelihood on the line, so you better care about it, because if it goes bad, you're losing your home if you're all in.
Yeah, so I have a question. You said you had 3 businesses at the same time. Do you think that was a distraction? Do you think it's because entrepreneurs, we sometimes are excited, we make a little bit of money, we want to invest, but I also learned the hard way, trying to do a couple of businesses at the same time. And if it's still not an entity that's run by itself like a business, it still depends a lot on you. What was your experience? Do you feel like it pulled your energy and pulled like the growth of the law practice?
Mistake. Would never do it again. In fact, I wasn't married to my wife at the time. When I met her, this was 14 years ago, she was like, why are you wasting all your time with these other businesses? And that's right around the time they were going under. And when I stopped doing that, at her suggestion, when I stopped doing that is when we started this law firm, and it just took off, because you put in 100% of that. I don't know, there's an ego thing with entrepreneurs, and this is me too, because I did it. There's an ego thing, like I can do anything with any business. And it's worse when you start making some money. Let's say you're making 5 or 10 million a year, you've got some money you will burn the money. There's another book, Managing Corporate Life Cycles by Adizes. He talks about this. It's called the go phase of your business, when you make cash and you make dumb investment decisions. Don't do it. Don't think that the really gold touch you have in this business will automatically translate into a shoe business or a construction business. It does not happen. It doesn't automatically translate. And it will cannibalize your business, because you're going to be running around dealing with the problems of the other business, and you'll make less money. Make a ton of money in your main business, and then you can think about how you want to invest it in the market or in real estate. And the real estate we buy are buildings we occupy, so I don't even have to deal with management of it. So I'm saying, so it's, I definitely don't recommend multiple businesses. Anybody who comes in and says, I'm a serial entrepreneur, I always raise my eyebrows a little bit. I say, really, tell me about your success. And the odds are they'll have 1 really good business and 10 awful businesses, right? I'm being very extreme here.
I know, because it's true, because we have so many ideas and we're so excited. Like you said, we have the ego. Oh, I'm good at sales. I can do it here. I can do it. And we just want to multiply. I think we want to multiply and get a huge success so quick. But then I learned, oh, this is not working. This is just pulling me away. So
yeah, the only business I would recommend, like you can have an ancillary services business. Like for example, I now do a lot of staffing offshore. We hire people in other countries as contractors. I would consider putting that in a separate entity, right? The recruitment and training of that in a separate entity, and maybe do that for other law firms that are similarly situated, because I already know that 100%. It's going to be done the right way. There is really very little increase in time or money, because I'm already doing it as part of my business. And I have the manager who runs that. But building it from the ground up, that's a terrible idea. And in an industry I'm not familiar with, forget it. I'm smart enough now to know, I failed enough to know, I don't have the magic touch in every area. I'm going to do what I know and do it better than everybody else. And then hopefully that will get me my revenue.
Yeah, and that's also from Think and Grow Rich, right? You want to specialize, and once you're known and very good at something, then success will come, like when you are really practicing a skill. So as we are wrapping up, I would love to ask you, what was something that worked for you to get clients and customers?
My wife is the chief marketing officer, and she's also the on-air talent. She's the one who goes on TV and everything. So she's really good at attracting clients. I'm good at selling to a certain segment of the audience, about 10%. There's 10% big cases, highly critical clients that I'm good at that. My wife is good at pretty much everyone else. And that's obviously driving most of the revenue. But what I would tell you is that there are what I like to call a lot of marketing vultures. If you hire a consultant, or if you're thinking about advertising or anything, everyone is interested in themselves. No one is interested in your business. You think that they would say, okay, if I get Mr. Jones, a great client, then he's going to continue to re-up. They are not interested in that. They are interested in their monthly sales nut. And so they will sell you crap. I got to be careful with my profanity. They'll sell you garbage. And that happened to us a lot because we didn't know. And then my recommendation to you is figure out what works and then double down on that. And then double down on that until you start to see a decline in the returns. But you've got to track everything. Like branding is hokum. It's nonsense for the first 5 or 10 years. There's no such thing as branding. If they tell you got to have a brand, forget it. You're fooling yourself. It's got to be actual sales. and you got to have a sales funnel, and you've got to have your conversion and everything, and know what your cost for client acquisition is. And that's all stuff you will learn over time. But if you listen to the consultants, particularly in the marketing area, I've lost a lot of money doing that. And the first thing they'll tell you is you can't track these results. Yes, you can. And if you can't do it, don't use that marketing avenue, or figure out a way to track those results in that marketing avenue. And we learned all that early on. Fortunately, we didn't lose as much money as we could have. And I learned enough to not trust people. And I'm always I just the other day we blew $100,000 on an ad spend with I don't want to disparage them, but it was their fault, but our fault too. And fortunately we caught it. It was like a 3 or 4 day thing that we blew $100,000. It was bad. I'm not going to do that again. But it could have waited a month and it would have been $1 million. And we're looking at it daily. Just be disciplined about that. And most people out there are looking out for themselves, not for you, no matter what they say. So be skeptical. And then when you find something that works, and that's what we did. We found a radio station that worked for us, and we started increasing and increasing until we topped out. And that spend was what we still spend that money to this day. And then we found another radio station, and we tested, and then we found another radio station that was good, and then we increased the budget until we topped out there. And then we went to TV, and we grew organically. It took us a few years, but we figured out our right mix. And now we're in SEO and everything else, which we track that too.
Amazing. Thank you. And at your company, do you specialize in something specific?
We just do personal injury. So if you fall down, you get hurt in the workplace, you get in a car accident in the United States, we're licensed in several states. We have offices in New York and in Florida. We also handle cases in Texas, DC, Maryland, Massachusetts, and then we have co-counsel relationships throughout the country, but that's our primary where we're focusing our practices.
So all your hundreds of lawyers, they're focused only on personal injuries.
That is correct. That's all they do. I have lawyers who help support the business, right? So because you need lawyers in business too at our point. But yeah, hopefully this was helpful to you guys. One last thing I will say, faith is a big part of my life. One of the things that happened when my business started going well, before that is I had a spiritual conversion. I'm a Christian, but I believe that most of what we're talking about can be found in the Bible. Figure out your faith before you start business. A lot of people get into business because they're lost and they think that money is the way. Money's not the way. Get your spirituality, get your faith worked out before you start in business, because you will be tested. And the Bible says, build your house on rock, not on sand. If you don't have your faith figured out and you don't have a good relationship with your spouse, if you're married, the business will make that worse, not better. No business success or money success will ever solve your personal problems. So you got to get that stuff worked out before you start it. And I came off sleeping on a sofa. I was a total disaster, and I started working on myself more and more, and I've solved a lot of my traumas and issues. And then I was able to get into business and be very successful. Steve Harvey said, if the money doesn't change your character, it reveals who you really are. If you're an a-hole now, you're going to be an a-hole worse with $50 million. And if you're a really good person, you're going to be really a better person at that level. You're going to have the resources to help support other people and other organizations. So you got to work out who you are and work out your issues before you start a business, because that will be the fastest way to really crush your life. Is if you get a lot of money coming in and you don't have those spiritual and the faith issues and your relationship issues worked out, it will wreck you. And I pray that doesn't happen to any of you. It happened to me a couple times. Just don't do what I did, and you'll learn from my mistakes. And I hope that is helpful for people.
And we have to also learn from our own mistakes. We listen to these things, but you are on this journey as an entrepreneur where we're chasing the goal, but it's actually who you have to become. And like you said, when you spiritually and mentally become that person, then success happens. Until you are there, which is heartache that we don't want to admit. We're just like, I want it. Why didn't it happen yet? Why I'm not here yet? Now I have a next goal. But to reach those next goals, you have to become that person. And that's why journey and struggles are. And yeah, so thank you, Greg. This was really incredible. I could speak with you forever.
Yeah. If you want to work with someone who's already been through there, give me a call, follow me on Instagram. We have plenty of content that will help you grow your business. And we look forward to seeing you at the top.